100 years ago, beans were a major driver of economic growth and prosperity in the agricultural landscape of the upstate New York region. As New York State was a leader in bean growing in the country. So we are here today to bring the bean back to upstate New York and make New York State the bean belt of the country. We're Lupii, and we're making plant-based protein for planet-based humans. My name is Isabel, and I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Lupii. I spent my career working for early-stage startups, mostly in operations, and I also have a huge passion for plant-based eating. I'm certified in plant-based nutrition by eCornell. I started a podcast called The Plant to Fall, where I interview plant-based change makers across different industries. And I'm absolutely obsessed with Lupini beans, which I grew up with in Europe, and now I'm bringing them to the United States. I'm joined by my incredible co-founder, Alexandra Dempster. She and I share a passion for plant-based eating. She spent her career working for Fortune 500 food and beverage companies. Most recently, she was with Pepsi on one of their global teams running branding and marketing. We are also supported by incredible advisors and investors. Most notably, Mike Curbin, the founder and CEO of Vita Coco, as well as John Leahy, the former president and COO of Kind. We're bringing the bean back to the upstate New York table. The Finger Lakes region in particular has a long history of bean growing, but that has massively declined over the last 100 years, from over 100,000 acres to less than 1%. Today, the tides are shifting again. There's an increased amount of vacant land in the upstate New York region due to the consolidation of dairy farms. There are more and more farmers retiring, and their children wondering if they will take over the farm and what they will be growing to ensure their economic future. And there is more and more demand for crops that are good for soil health and make sure to keep the soils healthy so we can grow healthy food for healthy humans. And Lupini beans are the solution for all of those issues. Customers are also hungry for change. There's three main motivators that drive customer purchasing behavior today. One, they want less processed foods. Two, they want to eat more high-quality plant-based protein. As a matter of fact, over 50% of the less than 40-year-old Americans consider themselves flexitarian, so they're actively looking to introduce more plant-based protein to their diet. And three, customers want to eat environmentally friendly foods. They want to eat for the planet. And again, at Lupii, we have one powerful solution to solve this, and that is the small but mighty Lupini bean. Lupini has a long agricultural and culinary history in Europe, where it's originally from, and it's been praised over there for centuries because of its incredible nutritional benefits and its wonderful impact on the environment. Actually, there's 3 companies launching each month using Lupini as a hero ingredient. So we're on the forefront of that innovation, as the US is projected to be the next big market for this ingredient. So Lupini combines an exceptional nutritional profile with amazing benefits for the environment. First of all, Lupini is a complete protein, so it has all 9 essential amino acids, which is pretty rare for plant-based protein. It has 3 times more protein than eggs and 3 times more fiber than oats. On the environmental side, Lupini is a nitrogen fixer, so it's wonderful for soil health and soil revitalization, and it's been used in regenerative agriculture abroad for decades. It's also resource efficient to grow and great for biodiversity. Let's look at the nutritional profile one more time. I get so excited every time I look at this chart. This unique combination of high protein and high fiber, while also being naturally low in carbohydrates, again, pretty unheard of for beans, and hitting on 3 main consumer drivers these days, which are high quality, high plant-based protein, high fiber, and low carbohydrate. At Lupii, we have a vision to build a brand platform for this incredible ingredients, and we're going strategically into categories where we can add functional nutritional benefits while also keeping the nutrition label clean with real food. So we launched in January of 2020 with our first product range, Lupii Bars, that currently come in 5 delicious flavors. Actually, almond chocolate chip is just about to launch. And next up, Lupii Pasta. Our innovation was very much driven by consumer insights work, as well as having been approached by a major US retailer. So let's have a look at how we're disrupting the bar category and really innovating here. First of all, we're introducing a brand new source of plant-based protein that is higher quality than anything that's out there right now. And we're using a whole bean in our bar, which means we're not using any of the processed protein isolates. We're able, in that way, to deliver on 9 to 10 grams of plant-based protein, but also 8 grams of your daily fiber recommendation, and that's just with 5 to 6 simple, real food ingredients. When we look at the pasta category, again, we're disrupting, we're innovating, we're bringing the first high plant protein, high fiber, low carbohydrate pasta to the market. And that's just where we're starting. Abroad, Lupini is used in various product applications, from baked goods to snacks to meat and dairy replacements. The opportunities are truly endless, and we will be highly strategic and listen to our customers as we innovate and enter new categories where we believe we can disrupt through building a unique nutritional profile by also keeping the nutrition label and ingredients clean. Consumers are excited about Lupii. We launched last year with an omni-channel strategy, but a strong focus on direct-to-consumer, and really used our first year in market as a petri dish to get smart on who is our target audience, what do they love about our product, and what should we improve. And as a matter of fact, consumers continue to love our products because we're on track of growing our business by 50% this year and have spent almost no marketing dollars. And the press is excited too. We've gotten great press placements around Lupini as a new ingredient that is going to take over the US, as well as Lupii as a brand. And most recently, actually, there was a really exciting article about Beyonce's personal chef who's obsessed with Lupini beans. In terms of our impact on the New York State area and on the Upstate region, it's essential to remind you all again, we are already a New York State-based company, and we are looking to literally ground ourselves in the Upstate area and are focused on 3 pillars to drive economic growth for the decades to come. And that is R&D, supply chain, and manufacturing. On the R&D side, our goal is to become the #1 expert in Lupini development, product development, and we'll be working with partners like the Cornell Center for Excellence on that front. On the supply chain side, as I mentioned, we will be working with farmers locally in upstate New York to grow this incredible ingredient, and we'll be partnering with research institutions such as Cornell and SUNY Morrisville in order to achieve that. And on the manufacturing side, our goal is to produce as many of our products locally in our backyard, and we will be fitting nicely into the already existing ecosystem of wonderful startups like Emmy's Organics, Ithaca Hummus, and Love Beats. So we're building a consumer-facing brand, and we also are building a back end that keeps us competitive and strategic as others might start to enter the market and learn about this incredible ingredient. On the supply chain side, we have already run 2 successful pilots with our incredible partners in Western Montana, Timeless Foods, where we successfully grew Lupini beans over the last 2 summers. And now we have farmers that are looking to grow the ingredient for us. We will replicate that model in the upstate region and scale it. On the R&D side, it is essential for us to build out in-house know-how so we can be on the forefront of Lupini innovation and quickly iterate and launch new products to market. We're here to win $1 million. Not only are we going to create 7 direct jobs across marketing, sales, supply chain, and R&D, as well as at least 30 indirect jobs, but really, think about what we're building here. We're building a new market for this ingredient that can have massive spillover effects into other industries. So investing into Lupii is really investing into all of us. We're excited to partner with our upstate partners and build and foster economic growth in the region for the decades to come. Thank you. And now I'd like to call up my co-founder, Alexandra, for the Q&A part.
Well, come on up, Ali. And now we've got just 10 minutes for questions, right on the dot. Well done. Annie, you're first up.
Thank you. Great presentation, and thank you for the test of the bars. We really appreciated it in the judges' room. So a couple of questions. Having a cultural connection to the Lupini beans, there's a few of us that have that. I'm curious to know, how did you, one, really do the analysis upon the nutritional value and the protein profile, and is that absorbable protein? Can you speak a little bit about that first?
Yes, we got it tested in a lab. We have partners who currently are producing our products in Portland, and so the university partners over there have tested the product as well as the ingredient for the nutritional profile. And it is a complete protein, so it has all 9 amino acids. It is lower in some and higher in others. But from our research, absorbability is very high and very, very much in line with soy.
Great.
Okay. So your goal then is to really be building a branded food company with Lupini beans as the center, correct?
That's correct, Ali?
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to build a platform and a brand for Lupini beans that can span across the aisles and the markets. And we really think about how do we build this brand so that it connects with the hearts and minds of consumers. And the way that we do that is through authentically connecting and building an authentic voice for the brand, and that comes from both of us. I am someone that deeply believes that we can change the world through what we put in our bodies. I left my big corporate job to spearhead this mission because I've suffered from chronic health issues, and changing the way I eat and live my life has made a huge impact. And I'm actually also a new mom who has a 5-month-old daughter, and it's never been more important to me to think about the future health of our generations and the planet.
Well, what's your supply going to be? Where are you getting your supply?
Yeah, currently we're getting all of our supply from Europe, so we're sourcing it from our partners over there, and there's a very well-established supply chain both in Europe and in Australia. So we're not worried about supply. The reason we're doing it is because we want to bring our supply chain closer to us. So we all saw what happened last year during the pandemic. We know that it's important to think in the future, but it's also more sustainable to do that. And in addition, we know that U.S. soils are in need for better crops to grow, and local farmers are looking to diversify their crop growing and build a solid foundation for their economic future.
Let's go to Laura Peterson.
Yeah, this is kind of a follow-up to that. Have you talked to very many farmers about growing Lupini beans, and what response have you gotten?
Yes, we have a lot of partners in Western Montana already, and we have received very similar reactions from New York farmers that we have approached that are very interested. Some of them are already growing beans because they've been doing that for a while, and they're really trying to double down. They have seen a lot of their demand really go through the roof during the pandemic, and they are projecting that to continue. And then we've talked to some dairy farmers who are really worried about the future and who have children who will be taking over the farms and who are looking to diversify that, and there's been a lot of interest and excitement around it.
Have any of them actually grown any of it yet, though, or are they just interested?
We have not started growing the bean in New York State. No, we have not.
Great. All right, over to you, Mary Shellman.
Sure, thanks so much. So you mentioned that there are a lot of products in Europe already based on the Lupini bean, and I was just curious to know what more there were because I wasn't familiar with it. And kind of a follow-up to that is that are there any negatives from using this? I've had some pastas in Italy made with products that were not wheat that were actually, I just trashed them because they were really disgusting when you came around to eat them. So.
That's great. I mean, taste is king, right? It's the most important thing that we're doing. So our bars are delicious. Our pasta, we're in the final stages of R&D, is fantastic. And we've done consumer research on it. We've gotten feedback on it. So there's general consensus that it's delicious and absolutely in line with wheat-based pasta. In terms of other product ranges that exist in Europe, there's really a lot of different things. In the snack space, there's used a lot in baked goods to add nutritional value. It's used a lot in meat and dairy replacements as well. And there is also some Lupini pasta on the European market as well. So it's a very versatile ingredient.
Well, just kind of as a follow-up to that, given the fact that you talked about putting it in pizza to add to the nutritional value, putting it some other things to add to the nutritional value, if your idea is to get Americans to eat more healthfully, is the big opportunity to go into this very crowded bar space to where you're like fighting on the shelf, or is it to go through this more of an ingredient strategy and getting it included in something that's already being sold?
Yeah, Ali, you want to talk about
Yeah, I
the
think
ingredients?
we really believe in building a brand and an association and education around what we're doing and the functional benefits of what the bean can do in various categories. And that's one of the reasons that we plan to span the grocery aisles, because it really shows the breadth of applicability that this bean has and the demand that we can create for it. So that's really our focus. There is an Intel Inside approach that you could take, but for us, we think building that front-end consumer brand is where we can educate and really grow the demand.
And I would also add, when introducing a new ingredient, you're already dealing with that education. So doing it in a format that consumers love in a category that continues to grow at a really fast rate, like bars, is actually a great way to do it. Because you don't also have to educate the consumer around how to use the ingredient.
Something also to add about the bar category is we saw last year with the pandemic, it was a category that was hit a bit, and that the bars that grew the segment were the plant-based bars. And so that's something that we see in bar category and then the pasta category as well. The alt pastas are what are growing the category today.
Great. John Catsibiana?
First of all, I'll say, and my colleague Annie can appreciate this, I can say I knew Lupini before Lupini were cool. So, quite sort of one of the follow-up questions there relative to marketing. Are you in any of the direct retail channels right now other than some of the online? Any stores?
Yes.
What are you doing?
So we have definitely an omni-channel approach. Year one, especially given the pandemic, D2C was the approach and the focus channel for us. That being said, growing our brand in physical retail is of the utmost importance. And today we're in approximately 250 independents. We have distribution with both UNFI and KeHE and plan to continue to expand that distribution footprint and our penetration.
And then we're also about to launch I don't know if I can announce this yet, but it's a major online retailer that is very much focused on sustainable products. It has grown a lot during the last year.
Awesome. John Eng?
Very unfamiliar with the bean, but could you talk a little bit more about the financial benefit for the farmer? Is this a higher value crop than other crops that would be typically grown here?
Yeah, I mean, one thing to keep in mind, obviously, we're dealing with the American market, right, where soy, corn, and wheat are dominating and are highly subsidized, so it's very cheap to produce those crops. But we also have increasing consumer demand for alternatives, and we also have increasing consumer and farmer demand for crops that are better for the soil. So we know there's going to be an increase in demand for ingredients like this, which will also help with getting the price down. Practically speaking, with our farming partners in Montana, the pricing, the cost is very competitive with what else they are growing, and they are really interested in growing it because it makes sense for them financially at this stage.
Great. Annie? I think the judges are looking at each other. Go back to you, Annie.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take the ball. So guys, I hear you on the bar category, but you're not convincing me. And I don't mean to be tough on that, but it is probably the hardest category to trial a product. So I'm really curious if you have any stats that you can share that actually show that there is traction, because I think that's would be really valuable.
Yes. So first of all, we have really strong repeat purchase rates online, so around 30-35% right now. Again, without spending any marketing dollars. We are growing by over 50% from 2020 to 2021. Considering that the category was down last year, the fact that we were able to not only launch a business but also grow in that category is pretty massive. And when you look at the actual data from retailers, which we now have access to because we're working with a broker, we've seen that all the big players are actually losing market share. And the players that are winning in the bar category are up-and-coming brands that are offering plant-based protein solutions.
Great.
But this is projections, right? So that,
Yeah,
I mean, so the
2021
track.
is, Yeah, so first year in business was 200,000 in gross, and second year we're getting close to 400.
And those are contracted agreements you have for next year, the expand, like, or is that?
Those are
This is
projected.
pipeline, so this is projection.
Okay,
Yep.
projection, thank you.
Great. Well,